And guess what? That was true. I did just assume that everything that school told me was truth. I did just assume that the Earth was a globe.
We all did.
And I did what you guys told me to do. I investigated it. And after all that, I keep coming back to the same answer. I'm a plumber from Florida, and I've been able to figure this out.
Dude, you're not actually a plumber.
So,
son of a plumber.
No. I'm the type of plumber that never actually fixes the sink. All I do is sleep with your wife, but whatever. We have to make money somehow. Wow. So when it comes to
no, don't worry. He sleeps with my wife too, so it doesn't really matter.
But Red, still,
listen. I'll RussianVids. If you're really are interested, I'll send you a link on Pornhub. But anyway, so
yeah, thank you.
When it comes to these types of observations, I had just as much time as you did to figure this stuff out. I had the same amount of tools available to me as you did. I was able to research this for as long as you did. Why is it that when I investigate it, I come to one conclusion, but you're saying you need more time to even come to a solid stance?
Yeah, I just decided to approach it differently. I didn't get a good answer on my vectors and my oblate argument.
I don't think anybody understood your oblate argument, and I explained the vectors to you.
But we're talking.
I'm pretty sure you got.
I mean, we can get George. Hang on.
Let me try Red's.
We can get George Hanook in here.
How do you make of that?
Wait, George.
All right, hang on. How do I measure what?
So we have an oblate spheroid, right, according to ball Earth geometry, right? So first of all, is gravity acting perpendicular to the surface? Is that the rule? So
gravity acts at all points.
Wait, does anyone have an objection to that?
Yeah, because gravity acts at all points.
Yeah,
sure,
gravity acts on all points.
Let's deal with this on a two-dimensional thing for now. We have an oblate spheroid sitting in front of us, right?
Okay.
And every point along that on the outside of that oblate spheroid we can model a gravity vector perpendicular to it. Correct?
Sure, going down to the center. Sure. Okay.
And it's not. In this case, it's not pointing. It's not going. They're not going to go through the center of this.
Yes, it is.
Right? Why?
Because all points on the Earth, the force of down goes towards the center of the Earth.
The oblate spheroid. We're talking about a non-sphere. Correct?
Oh, okay. First of all, the oblateness is minimal. That's
fine.
It's very, very minimal.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
It actually really does matter.
Hang on.
No, there's going to be some vectors in a certain region.
You want to talk?
The center of gravity is the same for all points on any object. Here's where I got to ask you. You say you have a mechanical engineering degree or electrical engineering degree, and you don't understand something as simple as the center of gravity. Because the center of gravity, all vectors point to the center of gravity for any object, irregular or regular. Period.
But will it be perpendicular to the
He didn't even know the speed of light.
Yeah, that's another thing. How do you not know the speed of light? Like I got George telling me right now, he doesn't think that I'm not trying to sharpshoot. I'm really not. But this is too many coincidences of things that I don't think that even a person with a basic understanding should not know. And you have a master's degree, and I'm really kind of going, how is this possible?
Speed of light.
In all fairness, guys, he's not the only one here that's lying about his occupation.
Well, that's true. I mean, yeah, but hang on. It's not quite. Reds is not quite lying. He does kind of be a plumber. When you see on Pornhub the plumber knock on the door, and says, "I'm here to fix the sink." As soon as he bends over to do that, and Bubba takes over, it's an occupation. I mean, he makes a living that way.
Steve, that was supposed to be our little secret, but okay.
Dude, what's the reason for changing the topic? I was talking about vectors perpendicular to each point on the
okay. I'm gonna play the best friend card. I'm gonna play the best friend card to all you peeps, bitches, and hoes that are my peeps, bitches, and hoes. Shut the fuck up and let me have a one-on-one with Mind of God. What point are you trying to make when it comes to vectors?
Can we have that picture in front of us with those vectors acting all around the circle?
No, I don't have that image. But if Red has it.
Well, isn't that what we're standing on?
Did I not just play the best friend card, guys? God damn it, guys. Okay, so move on. Sorry for the interruption. Move on.
Okay, so are these vectors perpendicular to the surface, correct?
Sure,
yes. Reds lays down the pipe.
Where are they going to, they're not going to meet in the center, all of them?
Not exactly, but very minimal difference.
Hey guys, I want to jump in here.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I'm speechless.
Okay.
Well, hang on. Maybe this will help bring it together for you, Mind of God. By percentage points, the oblateness of the Earth is 0.1647%.
Yeah.
So it's so small that those vectors would essentially act like a sphere, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. That's fine. That's cool.
Okay. I'm glad we set that up. RussianVids, what say you?
Yeah, I want to just mention this. I talked about it in the very first live stream I was on with you guys about the Chinese moon landing and all that, and how technology seems to be going backwards. Here is a prime example of that as well with Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic, which was founded in 2004. How many times since 2004 have Virgin Galactic been in space? 0. Now we look at NASA, which was formed in 1958. In 12 years, they're supposed to go to the moon. So what is this deal with backwards technology where things just don't work as well as they did back in the 50s and 60s?
Right. Can I add to that, RussianVids? Like, you're saying there's backwards technology, but back then we had really, really very basic rockets, and now we've got shit that can land backwards on a drone in the sea. I don't see how that's backwards technology.
Exactly.
We should use this this ancient technology to go back to the moon. That's how
here's the problem. Well, and here's the problem. And I dealt with this directly in my time in the Navy, dealing with communications and navigation equipment then that dated back to the 50s and 60s. We have a different level of internal components that you have to deal with that are more sensitive to the radiation that is at higher altitudes. So yes, we have to worry about hardening the current electronics we have that would then control that craft to get it up there, that they did not have to worry about to the same extent back then.
And as a space fan, I have something to say about the Branson Virgin Galactic thing, and that is that the reason why Branson is having such an issue with that craft is because it's a shitty design. Keep in mind, we're talking about a space plane that re-enters the atmosphere with a feathering effect. I like how he conveniently forgot about the second private industry, Blue Origin, who has been to space multiple fucking times with a suborbital launch, a lot more successfully than Branson's, because they have a superior design. So if you want to look at one company that's not doing so well because they decide to embark on a shitty idea, then by all means, be my guest. I'll be there to agree with you. Branson should get his shit together. But when it comes to Bezos' idea, or Elon Musk's idea, or Sierra Nevada's idea, they're all in space right now as we speak. Look at Orbital ATK. They just now launched another Progress vehicle to the International Space Station. Where's this backwards BS that we're landing rockets backwards on drone ships, as Fight the Flat Earth just said.
Yeah.
Backwards,
it's pretty impressive.
Ass.
That is pretty impressive. And I got to tell you, of all the conspiracy shit that I've ever seen, watching a Falcon 9 land backwards, I go, that's fucking bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. But then I go, you know what? This is brilliant.
Video of the
By the way, let me clarify so RussianVids doesn't take out of context. It's not bullshit. Yeah. It's actually legit. But the first time you see it, the mind is in shock because it's so amazing that you just go, fuck, that's bullshit. But you realize it's not. It's what technology can do.
And here's the thing when it comes to the moon landings that a lot of flat earthers seem to have a problem with. Why aren't we going back? Why haven't we been back at the time? Well, one, there was a space race, and after NASA was dumped a metric fuck ton of money, that money started to whittle down until eventually there was not enough funding and also not enough drive to even go back to the moon anyway, because we've already been there multiple times.
Well, what's the point?
We've done what we set out to do. There was absolutely no reason to go to the moon besides, for example, maybe the planetary gateway, which was a flawed concept from the very beginning. So NASA not going back to the moon for 50 years when there was no reason to go back to the moon, it's not because NASA doesn't have the capability. It's because the NASA budget whiners, which some of them are flat earthers, mind you, were whining about the budget. So they got slashed and slashed and slashed and slashed again. To now, we're hitching a ride with the fucking Russians.
China's going to the moon, aren't they? Again, I mean, not again, but I mean they're having a planned mission. I know they're sending more probes up there. They have numerous probes up there, but they are sending a manned mission. I think in 2024. I think they had planned.
Yeah. So it's like, why can't we go back to the moon? We can. It's a matter of why should we? Because it's cool.
Yeah, we can only look at the same box so many times.
Well, and speaking to the budgetary bit, there's also the political capital, the reason for doing it and investing in it that disappeared at the end of the Apollo program.
Guys, I dropped off for about 3 or 4 minutes. I'm sorry. Bottom line is this. You have a so-called scientist in Bill Nye who says we cannot leave Earth.
No.
He's an engineering scientist.
He is a mechanical engineer.
He doesn't even have a master's. He doesn't even have a PhD. He's just got a master's degree.
But it's funny how he says that, though. But the bottom line is this. Again, getting back to the... I'm sorry, guys. I missed what you guys said the last 3 or 4 minutes. But the bottom line is it's funny how all these newer technologies aren't working, except China. China went back to the moon in 2003. I'm sorry, 2013. I apologize. And... no one else has. U.S. hasn't.
So
Russia hasn't.
Yeah, and we just explained.
Yeah, we have. And so you're just.
I apologize. I hear what you guys said.
Real quick overview. One, he did lie because LRO is a thing. The Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. Yeah, that's us going back to the moon. Two, there's a technology issue here that we have to contend with now that they did not have to contend with in the 60s and 70s, and that is the amount of digital circuitry that is controlling all the craft that we use.
Correct. Back in the day, what we had was analog, and we actually had a computer on board that had its programming stitched together. Yes, stitched, as in like thread and needle type of stitched. But now with technology that we have today, that technology that we have today has not been certified for that type of environment, which is what EFT-1 was all about with the launch of the Orion spacecraft on top of the Delta IV Heavy. And we were doing that to test and harden the technology and learn lessons from that launch so that we can recoup the capability. Because believe it or not, analog technology kind of fucking sucks, and we like to move forward from that.
Yeah, and also the fact that, as you pointed out, we're dealing with technology that is very susceptible to things like electromagnetic radiation, ionizing radiation, and things of that nature, because you're changing states, like a transistor state. So when you're having solid state on a very small nano scale, things like quantum tunneling come into effect, things that affect the physics of the circuitry is huge, and it has to be well shielded. They didn't have a lot of that problem back then. But I do have a question from George Nuchuk. He wants Nachuk. He wants to know if you can explain Nyquist criteria as applies to communication. Do you know who that is? Nyquist criteria?
Yeah, I just typed that in the thing. It's just you have to sample at twice the max frequency to prevent aliasing.
So you just
all right. So
why is George not on here, dude? Bring this guy on.
No, he wants to talk to you.
We'll rumble.
No, he wants to.
So and also what Jared said previously was actually correct. While yes, the Chinese have landed on the moon, we did that, back in the 60s, so not much there. But the LRO was us going back to the moon. For those of you who don't know, it stands for the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. It became active, it became a thing in 2009. So where's this gap that you're talking about?
Like I said, the so-called astronaut Pettit, which we talked about last time, Steve, and I want to go into this a little bit more with you, Steve.
Why can you never answer a direct question?
I know. That's a flatter for Steve,
go figure.
I think.
Yeah, answer.
Just hear me out.
No, I don't want to.
Steve,
no, I don't want to. It's getting
very
late.
hard to hear you out because you can't
I'm just going to say, Steve,
you said there was a gap in technology between such time and such time. Okay, hang on. You said there was a gap in us going to the moon between such time and such time, and then you bring up someone irrelevant like Pettit. While I agree he's an amazing individual and has accomplished way more than any of us will ever in our entire fucking lives, he is irrelevant to the conversation about technology and orbital capability when it comes to getting to the lunar surface or orbit.
You're saying destroying that technology, but what I'm getting at is Steve gave an answer that wasn't from Don Pettit. It was his own contrived answer. It wasn't nothing that.
What the fuck does that do with Tom Pettit? I don't give a shit about Tom Pettit.
Reds, you got to.
I've explained to you Tom Pettit's quote numerous times. So has everybody else. Big deal.
Wait a minute. I have to admit what?
Those NASA press conferences sound utterly ridiculous.
Well, that's actually they sound enlightening, and I would recommend, sir, that you humble yourself.
I like how do I humble myself? I'm making an observation.
You can make an observation.
That's an observation. observation.
Yeah, you're given an opinion, not an observation.
Yeah.
You say, oh, you have to admit, it sounds like this. Go, no, actually, it's actually very interesting when I can look at the press conference and says, this